Yeah, guys, welcome to episode 7 of the Game Junction podcast. We had some trouble come up here before the podcast, so I am filming from my phone. Quality is going to be awful, angle is awful, but this is all I could get to work with. We got
Thank you, Microsoft.
Yeah,
yeah, right.
I love it. We got Scott with us tonight, of course, Mark. We got a pretty topic list to go over, so we will start with that. Mark, if you want to go ahead with the first topic there. I can't.
Let me pull it back up. So it's a new PS5 console with a detachable disc player is rumored to release next year.
Scott, next. I don't understand.
Yeah, I didn't really get a chance. This is my first time hearing about it.
Yeah,
Let me pull
same.
it up. I know Scott said he had some knowledge on it.
Yeah, a little bit. I watched a couple channels on YouTube they were talking about it, and basically what'll end up happening is, from what I gathered, they're going to be releasing a whole nother PS5 system. To what I'm gathering, it's going to look exactly like the system you see now, and it will have a detachable drive that will actually fit inside, and you won't be able to tell that it's detachable. Okay. The drive itself, you'll be able to actually attach to a digital that's out there now, if you'd like. So that way, if you go to a GameStop or you go to a garage sale or you go to a convention and you want to buy some games and stuff and upload it into your system that's already digital, you can. But I think what ultimately, if that means, because they didn't say this so much, but from my point of view, it looks like what they're doing is, instead of having a dedicated digital system and a dedicated disc system, you'll have one thing that it's modular. So that way now you're only selling this one thing, and if you want a disc system, you just add the disc to it. There you go. And you'll be able to say, like Sony, you'll be able to make a few extra dollars for those people out there that said, "Oh man, I wish I had a disc drive." So
seems like the plan all along, if you ask me.
Well, yeah, kind of. This is their 1.5.
It's a roundabout way to make money.
I also heard that Microsoft is going to be doing something very similar. They'll be selling an external drive, so if you want to attach it to your Series S, you'll be able to do that. So, make a little extra money, be able to put some of those games on there that you couldn't get on there before.
Was it rumored how much it was going to cost? Like an extra $100?
I have not heard I have not heard a price yet.
So, it's like a price difference of like $100 between the digital only and the disc drive. So they're like, here's another $100, so we're not losing any money. It's what it feels like.
That's exactly it. So and I would be willing if they really wanted to be cool, what they would do is they'd pput it out there for like $79.99 instead of the full $100. So that way they're not going, we're just trying to get that extra $100 out of you. They're still getting it out of you.
They might do that, but at the end of the day, it's like, just buy it with a disc drive in the first place, and you just avoid all this problem that you don't have extra hardware to plug in.
But was it the plan all along, or was it something that they just said, in order to make this more cost effective, instead of having two different boxes being printed, two different sets of this, two different sets of that, now it's just one, and then we have this, this little add-on, and if you want that little add-on, you buy it. If you don't want the little add-on, you don't buy it.
Feels like a money-making scheme that they probably had planned all along. Because it takes time to get this in production, mass-produce it. I mean, you could probably do it in 2 years or so, but this feels like something they somewhat planned out in advance.
Yep, and on top of that, feels like. I mean, with plastic molding and stuff like that isn't cheap to do, especially if you're going to change a mold.
I'm like, they're doing two molds anyways with the original hardware. It just feels like extra money to make two versions.
Yeah, it seems wild to do that. If Xbox goes with doing that with the Series S, man, that seems like a waste. You get 500 gigabytes with the Series S. It's just pointless.
Well, interestingly, Tronics Fix, if you've ever watched that channel or not, he actually took a drive from a PS5 with a drive in it, and he tried putting it inside the one that doesn't.
I saw that.
And, yeah, and it wouldn't work because, of course, it's hardware locked.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, right.
Yep. All that. Yeah, that seems, I don't know. It could go either way. Having it planned, I can see that. Having not been like, oh, hey, let's make a little money. It just seems wild to go all digital right now if you want to pay the full price for game.
That and the other issue with going all digital is it eats up more memory on your hard drive. Because at least with a disc, that disc can eat up a decent chunk of memory. However much memory is on that Blu-ray, it'll eat up a good chunk of that disc. It still has to install on the hard drive, but it's not as much. So
Right.
it's kind of a trade-off with that. If you're going fully digital, you have to have more hard drive space.
Yep.
Yeah, that even with the M.2, I got those filled up immediately. I'm already full on mine. I have to delete stuff with the 1 terabyte SSD and everything. I even have an HDD on there attached for the PS4 games, all filled up.
Yeah,
It's wild.
Well, that 1 terabyte inside of my Series X, it's full, and I'd love to have that
Yeah,
Seagate memory card, but I can't get that right now, so that's fine.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could always put stuff on an external drive and move it back and forth instead of just deleting it.
Right.
I just haven't gotten around to doing it yet.
I don't have enough external drive. I've got external drives, but I don't want to waste my memory on games. Plus, most of what I download's on, it's like the PlayStation. It's like their monthly free games, PlayStation Plus. So I just keep it on there. If I found out it's gonna be deleted forever, I can always download it. It just saves me. I have the speed to re-download it within a few minutes. It's not an issue on me. Plus, it just saves space. And I'll be fair. Most of the games on PlayStation Plus that I grab for free, I probably never play because I don't have the interest.
Yeah.
But it's a free game, so why not?
Right. I do the same thing.
I always claim them whether I'll play it or not. Maybe it's on my account. So.
And anytime they give me something good that I'm gonna play, I'm like, I already own this game, so like, what's the point?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like when I've done that before, it doesn't allow me to claim something that I've already had saved on my.
It depends on whether I've got it on. If I have it on a disc, it usually doesn't recognize the digital version.
Well, it's like Portal 2 is one of the Xbox games right now, and even though I still own it, I still grabbed it. I still claimed it just because. I mean, I hate to sound lazy, but I can always just. Number one, if I get the disc out, I'm gonna have to download it anyway because all your disc is a key. So it still has to download from Microsoft. It's not going to play it. So I may as well, for my Series X at least, if I'm going to be playing on the 360, it'll take some of that off the disc. It'll play it off of there maybe, but I mean, it doesn't install everything on the hard drive unless you tell it to.
No,
yeah,
that makes sense.
And that the full game's on the disc, I believe. I have that.
Yep.
Actually, on the back of 360 cases. But yeah, I did the same thing as well. I went ahead and claimed it. It's just a convenience thing as well as
pretty much.
If something happens to your disc, you also still have a digital copy. So.
It just doesn't hurt.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Yeah,
I wasn't down. And Portal 2 is a solid game, so that's a good one to do that with it.
Oh, yeah.
No, definitely.
So what do we got on our next agenda on the topics?
Yeah, no, you don't have me as the... I'm not used to doing this. Nintendo is ending support for account logins via Facebook and Twitter.
Yes.
On October 25th of this year.
I saw that. I think.
Did they give a reason why, though?
No.
This doesn't make sense. Is this like that you could just use... It looks like you use Twitter or Facebook to log in.
Yeah, that's all it is. They think
it seems weird.
Maybe it's a security thing?
That's what it feels like, but I mean, like, other websites use it the same thing, so I don't know if it's...
I heard that it's it has something to do with like a behind the scenes deal with the only other. Ooh, what happened?
But literally, like every other site does the same thing with like Google, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and stuff like that. It's like a standard, like across the board.
Yeah, but if you look at Twitter and Facebook here lately, they haven't exactly been the best when it comes to their public face, and people have a lot less trust in them now, and maybe there's.
I think you're making a mistake if you ever trust big tech.
If you ever trusted them to begin with, yeah, but you're right.
Your personal security starts with you and your practices.
Right.
Never had tensions with Facebook. I can tell you that.
Well, let me rephrase that then. Maybe Nintendo, who tries to seem squeaky clean, maybe they're trying to separate themselves from the. From the bad fruit on the tree.
You could be making a good point, because the difference with Twitter and Facebook is that you can have full-on pornography on Twitter, along with anything else. There are terrorists that literally have Twitter accounts, so that could make sense.
You could have an account on anything.
Yeah, but when it comes to pornography, the Japanese are pretty fucked up. So I mean,
see it every day.
These
weebs, man, I'm telling you, these weebs on Twitter.
Gonna ruin
or something.
Twitter being a cesspool is a whole different conversation that we could go down.
Oh, it's just a
There's
Yeah,
cesspool.
let's not go down that rabbit hole. Alice doesn't have time for.
There's nothing redeemable about that site.
But no, that could be a good point, Scott. I do think that could be a possibility.
I
No
mean,
reason given, and I don't think we'll receive a reason. So
Probably not. But I don't. The once a year I actually log into it, I just use my email and password anyway, so it doesn't affect me.
aren't you blocked though?
No.
I thought you were blocked on Twitter.
You mean
You know how easy it is to make a new email and make a new Twitter? Like, let's be
I didn't
real.
know that you named one. I thought you just said you were done with it after that.
I have no. Why would I ever go back to Twitter? It's terrible.
I don't know. I find it to be the best one for me.
I think it's the
Okay,
worst.
I'll admit, I'll absolutely admit, I am not a Twitter fan. I do have a Twitter account that is, I do not have a personal Twitter account, but I have a Twitter account for Game Closet Retro, and that's just for the marketing.
Right.
And
I don't.
yeah, and if anybody says anything, tries to pull me into a stupid argument or anything like that, I would be like, block, done, because
Yeah.
I don't have time for childish bullshit. And it's just like, I'm sorry that mommy and daddy didn't love you, and I'm also sorry that you didn't win something, but you got the the participation prize. Now you have blue hair and you weigh 350 pounds. I don't care. So, go eat a stick of butter and fuck off.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I feel the same
No,
way.
and I feel like I guess Twitch isn't good, but as far as like a little bit Facebook, you could probably do the same thing, and especially like with YouTube. YouTube has their own like I don't remember what it's called, but you can like message people, like put out like a Twitch type broadcast to all your subscribers.
Yeah.
So there's the need for this Twitter is kind of dying depending on what platform you use.
You're talking about like on the community tab. That kind
yeah,
of thing.
yeah. For YouTube, the community
Yeah.
tab kind of like works the same way. So if you're primarily on YouTube, it's an alternative. You don't really need this because everybody that cares and subscribes, they can just on the one platform do everything for you.
Well, I don't have that many subscribers yet, so I can't do that yet. So,
Yeah.
It just takes.
but we're
time.
getting there.
I mean,
I
you
will
can
say
still
that-
do both, but the fact that some of these other platforms are kind of integrating something that pretty much people were using Twitter for.
Well, look at everything that's being done with the reels and videos. It's across every single platform.
Oh yeah, because like they saw what TikTok did, so they just implemented a simple feature.
Me
so it's
too.
kind of like
Me
Including
too. Me too.
Everything. It's
Yeah.
on Instagram, Snapchat. Twitter is coming out with a reels type video thing. It's going to be across every single social media. So if you are working by yourself, it will be essentially impossible to keep up.
Well, it's like this. We saw about 4 years ago, my wife and I got talking about something, and I saw what was going to happen a long time ago, and I said a lot of these companies, when they had streaming services like Netflix and Hulu, and then when you heard the rumor of this coming and the rumor of that coming, and then HBO Max, and we used to have HBO Go, and then when everybody started saying, oh, but I'm Paramount and I can make money if I have all my stuff in one place. And then the same thing with Peacock and all these.
oh yeah.
So so now they all have their own streaming services, and guess what's happening? They're all failing.
Because people aren't gonna pay all this money, they're gonna stick to the one or two they like, and that's about it.
That's what I do. If you get every one of those, you're paying more than cable, which it defeats the purpose of a streaming service.
And the funny thing is, you'll still see them cross-pollinated anyway, so you'll still see something from Paramount over on Disney Plus, and you'll still see something from Disney over on whatever, and
It's pretty much why
Spider-Man's here.
You pretty much have like at this point Disney Plus, Hulu, which are kind of like patched. You can get Hulu and
'Cause
Disney Plus. They're like owned essentially by the same thing, and they kind of got Netflix off doing its own thing. Outside like those three, it doesn't seem like anything else has enough. They don't have enough content to survive on their own.
Because I have Prime, I get Amazon Video as well, but I still have those.
I guess
four.
Amazon Video would be the runner-up, and I think Amazon may eventually overtake Netflix because Netflix never has
But
anything good on. if you ask me.
Netflix is dying because of its own
You think
well
so?
Oh yeah, they're losing subscribers by the day, and the more divisive material they put out, the more people go, nope, fuck this, I'm out of here. So I mean, Amazon, but Amazon's becoming divisive on their own because look at the rings
they're
of
all
power.
divisive.
Nobody,
Disney Plus is divisive to certain people.
Oh wow, Disney Plus is the freaking king.
That's the one I like least. I do love my Star Wars content, but
I don't know. Stuff. I think Star Wars is oversaturated.
What?
There's too much
Star Wars is oversaturated because they're throwing whatever against the wall. Instead of giving us quality, they're giving us quantity, and I would rather see a good movie, one good movie every 2 years or every 3 years than all this shit that they're just kind of throwing at us. Like Andor, really?
From what I've seen, people think it's better than what they put out recently, but I'm like, it's all in the same 10-year time period. Like I don't care about this 30-year time period.
Like something
until they give me Old Republic shit, I don't care. That's where I'm at, because it's the only time period that I'm interested in. Because there's some damn good Old Republic books out.
What was our initial? What was it?
Oh, we were talking about Nintendo about their login.
Yeah, how did we go down this rabbit hole?
Oh, Facebook and Twitter with Nintendo logins going away, and then we just go down this. I love it.
This is completely
off the cuff.
And that's fine. That's fine. So, all right, I'm saying it. Next topic. Fuck Twitter.
Hey, it's like we went to the wrong area, because next up, it's the first trailer for Netflix. Sonic Prime series is still strangely ominous. That's the headline.
I haven't seen anything.
So I guess it's allegedly in development or coming. I guess is what we're expecting.
Yeah, I think it drops next month. Looks okay. It looks better than the last thing that came out.
It might help Netflix if it's done well. I've only seen the first Sonic movie. I haven't seen the second one yet, so I don't know how that one. I thought the first one wasn't too bad. It's not like what you would have preferred for a Netflix movie, but it wasn't terribly done.
No, it was fine.
I haven't seen either the Sonic films yet.
Really?
I do want to watch them. I just haven't seen them.
The one thing I think was really well done, Jim Carrey makes a fantastic
Eggman.
I was thinking Egghead. I'm like, that's not his name. It's Eggman. I think he does that role really well. I didn't care for the real world setting. Some of the other characters. Pretty much that Sonic was done well and Eggman was done well. Everything else was kind of meh. It's there.
Okay.
I don't know about the second movie. I would have preferred if they kind of go into Sonic's universe and just stay there for the whole movie. That's that universe that people grew up with the games. It would make more sense to go that route. But I know why they went this route. They didn't want to throw a lot of money into a full digital movie and then it just kind of flop. So if you do it in the real world, you still have the CGI, but you can save a lot of money by not having to have a fully animated world and stuff like that.
Right.
And it did well, so I don't know anything about the second movie though.
Now the only thing that I saw that dropped this week was the trailer for Hellraiser, and I thought it looked actually pretty damn good as a Hellraiser fan myself. But the only thing that disappointed me was it said only on Hulu, and I'm like, put it in the theater. I have Hulu. I don't want to go to my living room, bastards. I want to go to the theater. I want to have some popcorn. And I want to sit around with a bunch of people watching something good. I don't want to go to my living room.
I don't even want to go to the theater anymore because there's never any good movies out.
For something good, I'll go.
I haven't been something good in 2 years, if you ask me.
Well, there's only been, I can only think of 2 or 3 films I've seen in the past couple of years in the theater, and Maverick was the best one.
Of the last 3 years, there's only 2 movies I watched in theaters. It was the first Sonic movie, and then it was the Spider-Man.
I saw Spider-Man.
With the 3 Spider-Mans, which I thought was a decently well done.
I saw
Spider-Man.
Even though the last Spider movie I saw before that was Spider-Man 3 with Tobey Maguire, so.
Really?
The worst Spider-Man movie. That movie's terrible.
No. Spider-Man 2's worse than that.
Oh, that's
I thought Spider-Man 3 was worse. I think 2 and 3 with Tobey Maguire weren't the best movies.
I could edit Spider-Man 3 to make it better.
Really, people, I generally, if you just type in Google, everybody, it's a general consensus, thinks that Spider-Man 2 is the best Spider-Man.
Spider-Man 3 is just bad because they had Tobey Maguire acting weird.
Hold on, are we talking Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2?
Tobey
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm talking Amazing Spider-Man. No, Doc Ock. That's the best Spider-Man movie of all time.
No, as far as Tobey Maguire, because he's the only one that I've actually seen. The third one was only bad because they had him doing weird shit with the whole Venom shit going on. It just wasn't done well.
Carnage.
Well, Venom was terrible. They totally miscast who was supposed to be. Oh hell, his name just went out of my mind. Brock. Shit. The photographer.
Brock is Venom.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I can't remember the name.
Topher Grace. He should have never been. I mean, that was just bad casting. There was some good stuff that they could have done with that film.
Potential for sure, but there was too villains. Too
many villains. Too much going on. So that's where it got wasted. And you know, I've never seen the Sandman as somebody that you could have sympathy for. You know, it's just like, oh, I just want to do this for my daughter. No, he's robbing banks, he's killing people, stuff like that, and then they make him look like church, like a church boy or something like that. It's like, no, that's not the Sandman. But Thomas Hayden Church did a good job. I will say that.
I like him as Sandman. Yeah, he did a solid job.
No, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, on the topic of Amazing Spider-Man 2, that might be the worst Spider-Man movie.
That's what I was saying. I would rather watch Spider-Man 3 than watch Amazing Spider-Man 2 because, you know, I'm not the biggest Jamie Foxx fan in the world anyway.
It's hit or miss on his roles, if you ask me.
Yes, it's hit or miss. And because when he was in that one Collateral with Tom Cruise, oh my God, he was fantastic. We could talk about that all night. His hits and misses.
Spawn though.
Huh?
He's being rebooted as Spawn.
I'm okay with that.
I guess we'll see how it plays out.
But when they, his Electro was horrible. And but in the new Spider-Man movie, they fixed it, so he was good. So I was like, yeah, watch it. They totally redeemed themselves. Even he made a comment on it.
Right. Yeah.
So they know they fucked up.
Heard about that.
And then when I can't remember his name now. The kid from Amazing Spider-Man. What's his name?
Oh,
I don't remember his name. I can see his face, but I can't remember his name. Yeah,
that guy. Anyway, when he made the comment of, yeah, there was a mechanical rhino, and I was like, yeah, that's the stupidest thing in the world. So now that Sony was just like, all right, how do we fix this? How do we fix this? Multiple universes. So
no,
because like when I saw the mechanical rhino, I was like, no.
If we're gonna stay on the concept of Marvel while we're here, because it's bugging me, Sony gets under my skin with how they've been doing the X-Men movies. Because they have some really good dumb movies, and they've got some piss poor. It's either a good or a bad movie. Nothing in between. No consistency.
They went all over the place.
They are, and it's annoying.
They went. What was it? Wolverine or Origins,
which is arguably the worst. And then they have Logan, which is arguably their best movie with X-Men. It's just
the Wolverine was fantastic.
Yeah, it was a good one too.
But then they come out with that X-Men, the Phoenix one, whatever, and that was
they've done that bad 3 times in a row. That
was so horrible.
They just watched the one with what is it with the mutant? I think it's called New Mutants. Did you watch that?
No, but I saw some good reviews, and I know not to waste my time on it.
The worst.
It's the absolute worst piece of crap that you could possibly watch. So I won't even waste my time.
I actually read through those comics. They're super, super dark and like real, just like fucked up, like super fucked up mutants.
Watch the Critical Drinker. Watch his review on that. You'll laugh your ass off.
I bet my review would be better.
Oh yeah.
Impossible. The Critical Drinker's the funniest guy in the internet. Period.
I think. As far as like what we were talking about a little earlier with the Phoenix saga, I think outside of the comics, the only adaptation that did it right was the old X-Men cartoon from the 90s.
Yeah, animated. That
Yeah, X-Men Animated is the only one that did it right. Every time they've done it like 2 or 3 times now with the live adaptation, they just butcher the storyline.
the '90s Spider-Man cartoon and X-Men, all those were fantastic.
90s X-Men period was the X-Men animated from the 90s. It was just a really well done series.
Top tier for sure.
X-Men's like the only Marvel thing I care about, so.
I think I still want to see the new Doctor Strange, even though I've heard a lot of mixed stuff about it. But I'm done with Marvel unless it's Spider-Man or that's about it.
Watch every one of them, even though I'm behind a few movies. But
I've missed most of them, so.
I would rather dump a bunch of charcoal briquettes in my underwear than watch the Eternals. So no, thank you.
I watched. Terrible.
and that's how come I'm not watching it.
Just a bunch of shows and movies with like mediocre writing, like the past.
It's like
10
this.
years.
If I want to see something stupid and mediocre, I'll go on Twitter.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, if I want to see something stupid, mediocre, and I'm gonna die laughing because it's terrible, I would just watch Freddy Got Fingered. But I still advocate everybody needs to watch. The movie's like terrible and a masterpiece at the same time.
Oh, dude, it's so good.
Oh my god, you'll never see another movie like it.
It's stupid good.
It's so good. Bad. It's like I don't know what I'm watching. Is it so bad it's good? Like what's going on here?
I was watching the same producer that worked on. I'm trying to remember the name. My mind's struggling. Movie where they're carrying around the dead body the whole time.
Oh yeah.
Which one's that?
Weekend at Bernie's.
Oh
yeah. The second one was not that good, but the first one was great.
It's like a cult classic at this point. It's a really good movie.
Such a good movie.
Well, I think we gotta get this gap. Get back to the what's on we got on this list so far. Going on a huge tangent, not even on here. Talking about Marvel and shit.
This is the Game Junction Lounge, by the way. We are here to talk about games.
Yeah. You could branch off. I guess it was a little note. The PlayStation Plus Essentials for September, which are probably about to leave, was Need for Speed Heat. Never played it. Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. I actually got that one. Tried playing it. I'm terrible at fighting games.
The last couple of Need for Speeds I've had no interest whatsoever because they were all on.
Last one I played was Need for Speed. Was it like Hot Pursuit on like GameCube and PS2?
Yeah.
That's the last one I played.
Hot Pursuit 2 and Most Wanted are probably the best.
No, it's not Hot Pursuit. It was Most Wanted. That's what it was. Cause it was like an open world, and I was like, for the time, I was like, oh, this is amazing.
The best version of Most Wanted, because I have it for the Vita, I have it for the 360, and I have it for the Wii U. The best one.
Wii U.
Yep. Oh, yeah, you're already cut out there for a second, but we got you on the Wii U. The other last one for the PlayStation Essentials was Toem, a photo adventure. I don't know anything about that game.
Yeah,
never heard of it.
It's like it's an indie game. It's really, really pretty. It's like a manga style game, black and white.
Kind of like one of those like.
Kind of like Limbo.
Game, but
if you think of like, if you said like anime stuff, I'm thinking of like. It's like those. It's like a light novel game almost, essentially.
Sorta, but it's still like a legit game.
Those ones are like, it's just like fully text based. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the ones I avoid.
It's got an actual name, I just can't think of it. What's that?
Was you talking like a visual novel?
Yeah, it's a visual novel. I couldn't think of it.
Yeah,
it's literally just a novel, but it's like the old like choose your own adventure type games, except you have like limited input for it.
Right, exactly.
And then we got on here some bunch of PS Extra that came in September. New games arriving to the PlayStation Plus Extra Game Catalog, which you can play as early as September 20th, which was last week, 5 days ago. The first one I got on here is Deathloop.
Yes.
It's a game I saw was interesting, never got around to playing it. Don't know if either you did.
Pretty good.
It's on Game Pass now, so I'll probably check it out, but I'm not too much into playing online, but
it's not online.
I mean, I'm just saying that I'm not into playing online, but you know, whatever I can do, you know, campaign wise, I mean, it looks really interesting.
I'll probably give it a shot and come to see whether I get into it.
I got it on Amazon for $15, so pretty good. I never beat it.
Oh, thinking of that because it's not on here. I actually saw they actually. When I was at Walmart, like I didn't have the money. I'm gonna have to wait till payday, but they actually have Stray like physical copies for. I saw it for like the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, $40.
Definitely, yeah. I definitely wanted to pick up like the hard copy. Haven't
That
gotten
just
it
came
yet.
out this week, right?
Yeah,
The physical copy did, yeah.
That out, so it was actually like it's still technically like a limited release. They only sent so many copies to stores, and they'll only do one production.
Yeah, but I think be able to find it. Not a lot of people at my Walmart, so I definitely plan on picking it up.
At Walmart today, they have one left, and they're not restocking.
So worst comes to worst, you could probably find it online, marked up.
I wouldn't be too worried about it. There's probably more copies of Stray than people who have PlayStation 5s. So
yeah, pretty much.
I'm sure.
Also coming was Assassin's Creed. I can't speak. Assassin's Creed Origins. It's a game I wanted to play, but I still haven't beat Assassin's Creed.
Valhalla.
Nah, I got that. I played like an hour. The one before that, the one between the Greek one.
Oh,
Odyssey. Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Odyssey.
I got really far in the game. I just never actually stopped and beat it because it was taking me forever. It's such a big game.
I didn't beat Odyssey either, but I did beat Valhalla, just not the DLC.
I got into Odyssey, but when I started playing Valhalla, I just, for whatever reason, I didn't get into it when it first came out. But I have it. I need to get back. I need to play it again. But it wasn't a terrible game.
I hate the classic style Assassin's Creed. I'm not a fan, and Valhalla just did it for me. I really started to love with like Black Flag. I think Origins improved upon that, and Valhalla just kind of opened up the world and gave me that kind of style.
I think the only says
Origins was the first one that I saw since like maybe 2 that actually kind of grabbed me.
Yeah.
I didn't mind watching Black Flag being played, but I've never played it myself. And I think that's probably because I watched so much of it. I was just like, why would I want to play this?
Yeah,
but I liked, it was, the thing I liked about that was they branched off and did some different things. Like when you were like, out whale hunting and stuff like that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It just to me, fans of Assassin's Creed, don't. I'm not saying that I'm not a fan. I like the idea. I'm not an Uber fan. So fans of Assassin's Creed, don't assassinate me for saying this. It just seems that it's just more the same over and over and over again. Now, could you say the same thing about Halo, which is one of my favorite franchises? Metal Gear Solid, Metal Gear, same thing over and over again? Sure.
A lot of people not liking Infinite with Halo, especially the TV series. People are hating on it.
That's a divisive piece of shit. But with Infinite, my wife and I, we like playing co-op, and we started goofing around with it, and we were just going to take turns, and then we put it down.
Are we talking about Infinite?
Yeah, Infinite. We just put it down.
I just didn't get into the multiplayer. I like the main game, but other than that, I wasn't interested.
As far as Halo goes, I never had a PlayStation or an Xbox, the old Xbox run up, so I would only play like the multiplayer at friends. So I just never got into Halo as a series.
Right.
Yeah, Master Chief's my guy. He's my guy.
Yeah, I had nothing but Nintendo systems growing up, so.
Yeah,
but I get it because there's friends of mine who they've never played Halo before, and I get it. I totally get it. If you were into Metal Gear, or if you were into Splinter Cell or something like that instead, which I like all three, that's fine. But I'm just give me some more.
Place, but once I hit the Nintendo systems, it never stopped there. After that, like my first system was a 2600. Then I got a TurboGrafx 16, and then for some reason it reverted back to an NES, and it just progressed from there with each one of those.
Do you look at my picture and look at this right here?
Oh yeah. I love
that is an Atari 2600 Junior. I just hung it on the wall the other day.
That's the model I have as well.
Yeah, those systems are just a little too old for me to get into.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm really interested in homebrew on them these days. I like I like seeing systems like taken like way more advantage of now than they ever were, like the original library. But
no, it makes sense.
Mark, I absolutely wouldn't blame you at all. Because the Atari itself, you either have nostalgia for it or you have curiosity for it. If you don't have nostalgia and you have curiosity, then that's one thing. But the only thing is, it's never going to hold your interest more than 5 to 10 minutes.
Because the game is so rudimentary, essentially. There's just nothing there. And you kind of have a lot of NES games are kind of that same way. It wasn't until like the Super NES and the 64. Because that's also kind of what I grew up with. I grew up with the SNES and the GameCube 64. So that's kind of where my nostalgia hits.
I think that's how come I never really got... Well, there's two reasons why I never got into... Yes, number one, I had a Commodore at the time. I had a Commodore 64, and the graphics on there were, it's mind-bending by comparison to the Atari 2600.
Yeah.
And by that time, I had learned what girls were. So, I was just like, oh, hey, I'd rather play with these things than play with these things. So, it wasn't, it wasn't so much... let's play with video games. It was just like, oh, hey, you want to go out and let's, talk and, go to a movie and da-da-da-da and whatever. So it was just like when people were like, oh, hey, you want to play Super Mario? I'm just like, I can't play that shit. I suck at that. Why? Because I found girls.
Hey,
yeah, right.
Speaking of which, have you ever played the homebrew version of Super Mario Bros. On the Commodore 64?
No, but I have seen it.
It's really cool.
That is really cool looking.
Somebody really put a lot of work into that.
Well,
I gotta get my
I'm gonna give you a little insight into the world of Mario with me. I love Mario games. I think the newest Mario game for the I think Odyssey is just magnificent. But when it comes to most regular platformers, I suck. So it's like this. With New Super Mario Brothers for the Nintendo DS, I am stuck on the very last level. The very last levels with the lava and all that shit.
Wait, what game? Which one?
We're talking about for the DS, the new Super Mario Brothers.
Oh.
I have been stuck on that for 15 years.
Jesus Christ! I've never had that much problem with platformers.
Well, it's not like I pick it up every single day, but I'm not like
at this point I would I have to beat this level. Like I will break this DS if I don't beat this level.
I love that.
I pick it up about once a year and I go, I'm good.
I just never played them enough to get back into them. I think GameCube, or not the GameCube, but the old, like the original DS was like the last era of like platformers I really played for the most part. I'll pick them up eventually, especially like the NES or the SNES Mini or something like that. But platformers just don't hold me as much as they used to.
The only it has to be one hell of a platformer. It has to be something really, really special.
If it's not a Mario platformer, it's almost like why even bother?
I really dig Owlboy. Have you checked that one out?
That's a great game.
That's a good one.
Never heard
Rad
of it.
Rogers is pretty good. Rad Rogers is freaking hilarious. It has to have...
Which games are platformers?
They have to be very, very unique, very nichey, and they have to have a hook. If they don't have a hook to drag me in, I'm not touching it.
All right, Mark, what about Metroidvanias? Like outside the Metroid series.
That's weird because I don't like Castlevania games, so Metroidvanias don't really grab me. And to be fair, like the Metroid games are different from like just that Metroidvania genre. Because of that genre, the Metroid games were the only ones I really got into. And even then, Fusion was kind of like my first entry, but it was kind of like Fusion and Metroid Prime at the same time. So I've got much more of a love for the 3D Metroid than I do the old 2D. They're not bad. They're still the platformers, but it was more like just like the expansion of the Metroid universe is what pulled me in, not the whole Metroidvania feel as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, I can get that. I mean, you know what my favorite Metroid game is, but outside of that one, it probably goes back to the 2D games. Super Metroid always holds a special place for me.
They're not bad, and I like the 2Ds, but there was just something about, like, especially like the original Metroid Prime that just kind of grabbed me that the 2D games just can't. It's a kind of an environment with storytelling that the 2D games just can't do as well. And it's just kind of like a feel, essentially. They capture the same feeling in different ways. It's just something about the enact a 3D world first person view that's just different for me. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know how to explain it.
I didn't care for. I really didn't care for the Metroid Prime. Like the first, the only one I checked out, I think, was the first one, and I was just like, eh. I was more used to, Super Metroid and stuff like,
Yeah.
And I still haven't even opened up my copy of, the one for the Switch. you just mentioned, Brandon.
Was it Dread?
Dread. Yeah, I still haven't opened Dread up yet.
That's a fantastic game. Fantastic.
And I do have the one. I do have the one for the 3DS. I can't remember its name either.
Samus Returns.
The what?
Samus Returns.
Yeah,
that's a remake of
2.
Yeah, of 2. But I think the thing that turns me off about that is you know, the control of it. You know, it's because it's, I don't know, it's on that little tiny system, and I mean, when I'm trying to flip and trying to jump it, you know, up to another level and all that stuff at the same time, it's kind of a pain in the ass. Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful game. If I could play that with a regular controller, you know.
But I mean, the original Metroid 2 was on the old Game Boy, so
it was a Game Boy.
Yeah, it was a Game Boy.
I still prefer that over this one, honestly. I really.
But to be fair, you're not missing with Metroid 2 as far as like this 5-game storytelling. You're not really missing much. There's not much of a story to Metroid 2. It's just hunt down Metroids, pretty much.
I don't know about all that.
There's a story there. Of the overall story, there's not much there to that game.
Hey, there was a manual. Do you remember those, Mark?
Yeah, I remember the manuals. I mean, but you can say the same about the original Metroid, the very first Metroid game. There's not much of a story there to be either, because it was just the time period it came out in. You didn't need it; it's just a platformer.
Yeah, you had essentially those. You did have to read the manual if you wanted like any story.
I mean, there's a story there. It's just kind of bare bones, but that's not what sold the game.
In a way, if you look at it like this, if you look at the Atari, because I remember I would get an Atari game and it came with the manual, and sometimes they came with like a comic, and very rarely, I mean, because you had like the Yar's Revenge comic, and you had I think 5 from like the Atari Force, or 5 or 6 from the Atari Force. But if we're just talking about the regular manual and the box itself, the box art and the box manual, they always had the story about what you were playing, you know, the Yar and these people and da-da-da-da-da, and the file. And that was your basis for what you were seeing on the screen. So you had to use your imagination for that. Move up to like Super Nintendo and stuff like that. Now, there may not have been as much story again.
But they can fit
get
everything in there.
Right,
I guess it's weird. I think you saw it around the NES is where you saw the transition where a lot of these games came out where you could put more on screen, and then you get to the SNES and the 64, you progressively see more story out of the games, I guess.
Right, but with Super Nintendo, I look at it like you did get a little more story and vignette. It wasn't like you're watching Grand Theft Auto and seeing you know
like
what's going on.
Movie.
To counter that,
right?
What Final Fantasy games? I mean, you get the full story there for those. I mean, that's all story.
But I think the game's
getting later into the series as you get into the SNES era with those PlayStation 1 era with those games.
But I think
Star on you know, the Genesis.
I think a lot of the games that didn't offer you as much story, what they were pulling you in with was, because as I recall, the music for Super Metroid, the music's what grabbed me.
That's really good.
And the bosses and stuff. So that, to me, that's the equivalent of Atari looking at somebody going, listen, we really have to write a really good story because this game isn't all that great.
Right.
The story is the game.
Yeah, the story is the game.
Right, exactly.
I guess
it's kind of the same thing. Those box arts for Atari are with the collectors in the community, like Atari Age, for instance. A lot of those collectors are collecting them simply for that box art. I mean, you know, they're collecting all these variants with different box art covers. They don't care about the game whatsoever. Look at like Donkey Kong 2600.
Yeah,
I would say not a very good version of the game whatsoever.
One of the worst.
Yeah,
and then you have the Coleco version. You have the
Coleco, yeah.
And as far as like the story goes, it brought up to me along the Metroid timeline was when the Other M came out. A lot of people hated like the story aspect of it. There's other aspects of the game that were bad as far as the gameplay that I thought were stupid, but as far as like the story, some people didn't like what they did with Samus. But a lot of that was set up as far as like the canon story with her in Fusion, which I think was like one of the first mainline Metroid games that had like a heavy story-driven telling game. Told a lot about Samus's backstory in that game.
Yeah.
But I don't remember there being an issue there, but that was the first game that I played. So that was my first introduction. The internet was still kind of young. But people complained about that. I'm like, well, a lot of the storytelling aspect is just an extension of Fusion. So when it first came out, I was like, I don't agree with a lot of the consensus.
Yeah, man, people gave Other M a lot of hate, but
Just because it adds an actual character to Samus, she's just not this
yeah,
stone-faced killer, essentially.
that was the saving grace of that game. It made Samus feel like a person. You know what I mean?
I like the story. Hated the gameplay. Thought the gameplay was terribly done. Execution terribly written. Oh, he said I can't use his power up. I'm like, I don't like that. But the story itself, I didn't hate. Which is a controversial opinion in the Metroid community.
Yeah. Well, screw that community.
Do they get together for picnics, that community? Because I wouldn't mind going and see what they're eating.
Dude, there are at least no less than 50 groups on Facebook, so you have at it.
Oh, most of the communities pretty much. They're not a whole lot divisive. I think Other M's the only real divisive game in that community that I know that actually sticks out to me.
People are very divisive when I say that Hunters is my favorite game. They seem to not like that very well.
There's nothing wrong with Hunters. It's just a multiplayer game. It's not like Federation Force. But even Federation Force is universally hated by every Metroid fan out there.
Not me, man. That's the best.
I think you just looking to stir trouble. Hunters isn't bad. It was just a mobile multiplayer game.
Yeah, that was weird. That was a weird one. What else we got on our topic?
Yeah, I know it went up. I mean, there's a bunch more games as far as this PlayStation Plus Extra. You got Watch Dogs 2 coming, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. I only played the first one. Well, it's not a terrible fighting game.
That. I just downloaded Xenoverse 2. I haven't played it yet, but...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just a upgraded version of 1. Maybe some more story.
Really that game up, though. He said he's put, like, 800 hours or something crazy into it.
Oh, so yeah, you could definitely put hours in that game, because it's like you create your own character and you just go fight, essentially. There's a lot of multiplayer in that game.
We should definitely try to do that sometime.
Yeah. Some other games, it's Spiritfarer Farewell Edition. Don't know anything about it. I don't know anything about most of these games because I haven't heard them before. Chicory, A Colorful Tale, Monster Energy Supercross, Alex Kidd in Miracle World DX, Rabbids Invasion, the interactive TV show, Rayman Legends, and then Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game, complete edition.
Excellent game.
Yeah, no,
I have never played it, but I watched that movie. I wanted to kill my.
Which one?
Okay, you don't have to worry about the movie. This game
Scott
is
Pilgrim.
probably the best beat 'em up ever made. It rivals Streets of Rage 2 easy between that and City Girls. It's a great game, really.
That doesn't surprise me. I just like how we start this. We get 2 games in, and then we just 30 minutes later we're just off talking about something completely different. So we're talking about Metroid.
I mean that's what makes this podcast so fun, though. I love it.
One topic leads to the next topic, which leads to the next. It just piles on, and then you're like a mile away from where you started talking about.
That's a natural progression.
And it brings us all back around to Twitter still sucks.
That wasn't forced at all. As some PlayStation Plus Premium for September. For those that have it, some classic old school games that you're getting from PlayStation Plus Premium this September. I don't know the release dates. PS1. It's Siphon Filter 2. From the PS3, it's the Sly Collection, Sly Cooper, Thieves in Time, and then Bentley's Hack Pack. And then PSP is Toy Story 3. It's an odd game. And then Kingdom of Paradise.
That Kingdom of Paradise, that's an interesting RPG, too, that never gets talked about for the PSP.
Yeah, I don't know anything about PSP games, so...
I downloaded that on there, and it's actually a PS5 upgraded version. You can run at 120 frames, which is wild for a PSP game.
There are some really good PSP games out there. I know there's tons and tons of JRPGs and RPGs out there that people love. It's not my thing, but one of the best games that I ever played on there was, and believe it or not, it's Gran Turismo.
Really good game on
the PSP version. It's beautiful. It's amazing they were able to get that on that system.
I can't remember what that one's called. I can't remember. I might have to look it up. But yeah, that's a really good game. Nobody talks about that one either.
I think it's just called Gran Turismo.
Is it? Let me look it up here.
I think
it might be. Yeah, it is. You're right. Yep, just call PS Gran Turismo. Yep. But yeah, that's a solid game on there. Sure.
Okay. I guess because we're pretty much at the list of what I'm not sure who typed this up. It's not much more than whatever this breaking news just announced. Brandon smells like a fart head. Ha 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 ha. Love you guys. Have a good podcast tonight. That's the end of
somebody's
that was the
mom
end of the
like
that was the end of the notes on there. But I did, as I was searching, this was posted about 5 hours from Games Radar Plus. The alleged GTA 6 leaker was apparently formally charged by the police.
Yeah,
Because
Was it like a 15-year-old kid or 16-year-old?
Yeah, it was
No,
some
no.
17-year-old. From what this Games Radar article says, it was a 17-year-old who was arrested on suspicion of hacking.
Oh, really? I saw something about somebody that worked in the company. I must be totally off base.
Because he was arrested. Because this was from the Twitter from yesterday. City of London Police.
Gotcha.
Detective Inspector so and so from the City of London Police's cybercrime unit said the City of London Police arrested a 17-year-old in Oxfordshire on Thursday, 22nd September, on suspicion of hacking as part of a investigation supported by the National Crime Agency's National Cybercrime Unit. He has been charged in connection with the investigation and remains in police custody.
Well, I hope he rots in jail, gets buried under the prison.
I mean, then again, it's in London, so
but
there's different laws, but
yeah. That's wild. That's crazy that it was somebody that young, but it doesn't
hot
surprise
take,
me.
it's a victimless crime, but
yeah.
It didn't hurt. It's not hurting Rockstar at all, but I guess as far as like hacking's technically legal, so you can get them on that. But at the end of the day, I'm like, it didn't hurt. It's not going to hurt Rockstar at all.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess it's a double-edged sword with that kind of thing. I mean, it does. Like the images that were put out, obviously they're in development pictures.
I mean,
they
you didn't know
look as good as
you
like
didn't. There's
PS5.
There's no story elements really. It was just
Right. There's nothing there.
Early
but...
in development, game released. But
Yeah,
I mean, then again, what's Rockstar's security if a 17-year-old can hack your systems? You might want to, secure your vulnerabilities. What issues or somebody's not.
Our password is 1, 2, 3.
Somebody's got poor password protection. That's what it comes down to.
GTA.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's not going to hurt Rockstar. I thought it was kind of funny when they put out that little statement and you see people out there on Twitter going, my thoughts and prayers are with you. It's like, are you stupid?
Yes, I stand.
Are you seriously stupid? I mean, it's not like somebody went in there and burned the fucking place down. They got hacked and some pre-production pictures got put out there. Good God.
Absolutely everybody's going to run out and buy GTA 6 without a doubt.
Yes,
it probably is positive press for them, right? I mean,
I think it's a neutral praise, really, because you didn't learn anything. But it's like, hey, multi-billion-dollar corporation, I stand behind you. I will simp for you.
They did more damage to themselves when they outsourced the GTA collection and had a bunch of jackoffs do it and screw it up. We're too busy to do our own shit. Hey, you want to come over here and finish this for us?
Yeah, right.
God,
that was terrible, man.
I canceled my pre-order as fast as I could. No, give me my phone.
Dude, I didn't even do that. I just played it on Game Pass. Screw all that. Tried it out, got stuck, gave up.
I played mine on PS2. So,
man, that's the worst way to play. Let me tell you. I hate.
If you want the best way to play, you gotta play the downscaled Commodore 64 version.
Actually, if you really want
the Atari version,
just pixels on the screen.
Gamecom. Play it on the Gamecom.
Oh, that would be terrible.
You know what? Talk trash about my boy again.
I will.
Oh my God, you have one!
Yes, I love the Gamecom.
I want one of those so bad.
I play my Mortal Kombat on there. It's my favorite way to play. That.
I want one of those just so I can make fun of it. That's all.
It gets more hate than it deserves. If you look at it in person, it's okay, but it's definitely not a great system.
No.
You can't say it is. I mean, it's not.
And because I was looking around, there's nothing other than news, but I know you mentioned it to me earlier about this Trombone game is apparently blowing up.
Yeah. I did one
game.
Yeah,
Rusty Trombone the game.
It's just a trombone game. I don't know how this thing's blowing up.
So
it's a rhythm game.
Is all over simply because it's.
Are you guys punking me because I'm a trombone player?
No, this is it's an article in the Washington Post.
I downloaded it today. It's called Trombone Champ. So it's essentially, if you ever played Wii Music, it's basically a trombone version of Wii Music, and you play silly songs. You try to play. People stuff like the Pledge of Allegiance, people playing like
how is this blowing up?
Devil.
This looks like a stupid game if you ask me.
So it's going to be all public domain songs. You'll be playing Amazing Grace on the trombone.
Exactly. Yeah. But the whole point of it is that it's just a stupid, silly, cheap game. You can get it on Steam. You can get it on Switch. It's
I can just go get my trombone out and play it.
TikTok. It's all.
Then you don't have to stick with royalty free.
Yeah, it looks interesting though.
I play Down with a Sickness on trombone.
Well, funny enough, my daughter asked about it today. So if my daughter asks about it, it's blowing up. I mean, she doesn't know anything about video.
But that means it's a mainstream game, and I don't play mainstream games just because.
Well, Mark, I don't play anything you like either because of shit. I hate Metroid. I hate Borderlands.
Fair enough. The first and third game are not that good.
No,
you should only play Borderlands 2. That's my recommendation.
I only play Tales from the Border.
That's okay. I like that game too. I would count it a Borderlands game. It's
like I actually only like Commodore 64 version.
I would like to see a Commodore 64 version of Borderlands
Pretty dope. Any kind of first-person shooter on there.
The game just wouldn't work.
Well, you know, on the Commodore 64 version of Borderlands 1, if you start off and go off to the left, you keep hitting all these skags, and that's all you hit. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know how you get lost just killing skags in one area of that game. Like, it just blows my mind. Like, I don't know how that happens. Cause I played Borderlands 1 so many times.
I felt like I was being punished for something. It was like, you know, I stole an apple at a store, and somebody said, all right, you're going to have to play this game, and that's it. That's all you're getting is skags.
I think that just proves you don't know what a mini-map is. Like, I don't know how to navigate myself to waypoints.
Don't give the guy shit because he's only ever played an Atari 400. Okay.
I'll give everybody shit. I don't care.
He's still a real gamer.
No, actually, it's funny that you mentioned the mini-map. It's kind of funny how there are some games that you can just actually play the game only watching the map. You don't even have to look at anything else.
You can't play Borderlands only looking at the map. You're gonna get killed by the enemies running around.
Well, that one you can't, but
yeah,
there are games out there you can just look at the mini-map.
Centered, like on the mini-map, so you just.
I was trying to think. There is a game, but I can't think of the name of it, where you could just look at the map and just like do everything.
There's quite a few that you can do that with.
There was a prevalent one coming to mind, but I can't remember. I don't know if I even have it.
I know that GoldenEye shows on the mini-map, like the pointers are blinking. So I know that for sure. Man, for some reason, trombones popped up. There's one on here for $4,900.
No one's paying that. I think you're stupid if you are.
It's probably a bass trombone.
I don't know.
Like an actual trombone.
Yeah.
I thought you talking about like the game. Like I buy this color game and I'll sell it for like $4,500.
It's a Yamaha YBL.
Is it a valve trombone or is it a bass?
It just says 620G professional bass trombone.
There you go. That's why.
Okay, got it.
Bass trombones are very expensive, and a lot of just for example, I remember a while back the Vincent Bach Stradivarius trombone, the bass ones, you had to wait 2 years just to get one.
I'll say this much: that's really cool that you play that. I would never want to do that in my life.
It was fun.
I played snare.
I got rid of all the trombones I had except for my original. I had a really nice Vincent Bach Stradivarius that was almost a bass, and then I had a valve trombone for a while. It was a Yamaha, nice, but the thing is, I never played a valve instrument, so I just kind of had it as a novelty. I had a trigger trombone. I also had a soprano trombone, which was about yay big. All it was is a slide trumpet. I had it as a novelty, but I would never play a trombone game where you play royalty-free music.
Right.
I think I played.
We're gonna play Battle Hymn of the Republic.
That's
my shit.
If you're a trombone player, just watch a couple of videos on it. It's kind of interesting. It's just one of those type of games that go trending that are cheap and.
Do they give you a plastic trombone with it with buttons and?
Listen,
that would be a Nintendo thing to do.
I'm trying to not give this game shit. I'm trying to talk it up a little bit.
I'll talk it down.
Game that free, paid, DLC. You get to make your music. That's it. There's another. They take the I forget what they call them. The characters from the Wii. It looks like a Wii character.
Oh, the Mii's.
Yeah, the Mii's. It looks like a Mii. They changed it up just ever so slightly so they don't get any copyright infringement.
It looks like a game I would never play.
Trombone Hero, the John Philip Sousa
Listen, let
edition.
me tell you, dude. DJ Hero is one of the best games ever.
You know, there are people that give those games real shit, but I have heard that there are people out there that say that those are actually not that bad. I've never played them.
They're bad just by default. DJ.
I'll take my Guitar Hero and my Rock Band games. I'm good.
I only play Guitar Hero on the DS. So.
I mean, if we're gonna talk,
Lord.
If we're gonna talk rhythm games, the only rhythm game you should play are the Hatsune Miku games. That is top tier shit. None of this royalty free shit.
I just play DDR, man. So, hey, hold on. Actually, I can't get it out. But DDR,
I say that because that's the first rhythm game I bought was a Hatsune Miku game for the PS Vita.
Yeah.
The second I could download Megadeth songs, that I got it. It was just like, all right, Megadeth and Iron Maiden, sweet.
That new Megadeth album is terrible. So bad.
There's a few good songs on it, but there's a few really bad songs. Like what? The Mission to Mars?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
His mind. I think Mustaine's just he's just gone. All the drugs, man.
Yeah,
I think that's what.
I'm just guessing.
And all the cancer treatment too. He just got kind of. I don't know what happened. Like
maybe
he's weird, and he was just on Joe Rogan. So I watched that whole thing, and like he was just way out there, dude. He was just gone.
Drugs will do that to you.
Yeah. Well, he got all that chemo and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that kind of.
No, but I'm terrible at rhythm games as far as that aspect goes. But I love rhythm games. I just can't play them all. Cause that's what I bought the Taiko drum for the Switch when I bought it on
that is my
on
favorite.
the Switch. I also got it on my phone as well from the Apple Apps Store.
Yeah, I have the.
They're fun games. I'm just not good at them. It's a huge wide variety of games that you wouldn't think you'd be able to play on a Taiko drum, from like classic music to like J-pop, and everything in between.
Played Mega Man 2 main theme on there, dude. It's just like wild stuff.
It's wild watching people on YouTube play it, and not even like the actual arcade version of it, which I think is better. I had more fun doing it, but even with the plastic one for the Switch and for the PlayStation, they just go off. It's just like nonstop. I don't know how people do it. Like you gotta have a really good wrist. Just a really good at drums in general would help you. It's wild.
Yeah, the 3DS actually had an attachment to use a drum, so it had it came with a little stand. Play your game with the drum on there.
Yeah, defeats the purpose of it.
I mean, kinda. You had Guitar Hero on the DS, so.
That was just like a plug-in on the bottom into the Game Boy Advance port. And
but does that replicate a guitar?
Nah, it just was there for the buttons essentially.
It was just there for the 4 buttons, and then you strummed on the screen with this.
Yeah,
I got it.
So you could kind of get it with the DS, but an actual drum, you'd actually have to set the DS down, so it defeats half the purpose of the DS. I mean, it works, I guess.
Mark, have you ever heard of this? Have you played this? I just got this in 2 days ago. I played the series. Limited Run just put this out, so like one of the last.
Sarana Kagura. It sounds familiar, but it's definitely not a game I haven't played. The only game in that series is the I don't know. Is it the same series as the one we were talking about before that I had for the Vita?
Vita, yeah. But this is a beat 'em up game. And then this is I'll show you guys this one.
Because it's not limited run, but I had the Sarana. I guess it is Sarana Concurrence. The only one I played was the one on the Vita.
Yeah, that one's
which is like shooting water guns essentially.
Yeah.
It's got like a super serious story, highly erotic. I love it.
Yes.
Half naked Japanese anime girls.
Kind of cool.
That one have half naked anime girls in it as well. Follow the series tradition.
This one's a platformer. The first one's like a Zelda-esque game, and the second one's.
Cause this is like a third person view fighter shooter weird type game.
Yeah, that one's entirely different than this game.
I love the game. It's fantastic.
Well, that's why when I was at CGC yesterday, I wanted to look around for Dead or Alive games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I couldn't even get near half the tables because the place was so crazy packed.
Best volleyball game of all time. Best sports game.
Yeah, I wanted Dead or Alive volleyball, and I wanted the other Dead or Alive game, but nope, couldn't get it.
Just got one recently in a trade. Dead or Alive 5+ on the Vita.
Oh, it's not bad.
I was like, yeah.
I'm so upset that of the 6 Vita games I have, This is the only one that I still have, like, the hard copy of the other ones. I just threw away the copies and kept the games. But I guess it was a time where I didn't have a lot of space, so I was like, I don't need these, and I regret getting rid of them.
Well, now when it comes to cases, I mean, I like having things complete. I mean, not 99 times out of 100, if a game that's supposed to have its manual and stuff with it, if it doesn't have it, I won't buy it. But when it comes to my Vita, I could care less if I get one with.
Well, my only
I guess
thing
this is different because
I'm going
it's
for
like a
that.
special edition. It's got like
Right.
a music disc, a full, decently thick manual that's full color. So I think it's worth the money to keep it.
If you get a nice special edition, that's cool.
I mean, the box on the outside is kind of beat to hell, but everything on the inside is
We'll
still in
say
this condition.
something.
But I never sell it, so it doesn't really matter.
That's fine. But I do have something coming up here soon for review, so pretty excited about that.
Totally.
Did you? Oh, another news topic actually. I don't know if you follow the EverDrive stuff at all, Scott. Do you follow any of that?
What?
The EverDrive stuff, EverDrive or ODs and stuff like that.
Not me.
I haven't yet. I mean, I hear a lot about it. The only thing that I know is it seems like every time they come out with a new EverDrive for, let's say they have another Genesis one. Oh, here's like the release number 10 or whatever. It seems like the only thing that they're doing is just increasing compatibility, right?
Yeah. So there's certain things. So, like for instance, the one I was going to bring up for news topic, they are working on a. Crix just put out a video on Twitter of him working on a prototype version of a Turbo EverDrive Pro, and essentially the problem, like I have, somewhere, the downfall of this for the Turbo collectors is that the CD games are uber expensive, ridiculously expensive, and this doesn't play CD games, so. That will play CD games and PC Engine CD. So that's like the cool thing about that. The compatibility, it's really hard for, like he's talked about it before, but like playing a disc-based game, the same thing goes with the Jaguar game drive. It can't play Jaguar CD games properly. You have to do something. They added firmware, and you have to kind of mess around with some stuff to get it to play it, and even then some of the games don't work. But this one will play all the Turbo CD, so that's kind of cool. Those are games that I would never go after because of the disc rot that is prone to those games and the cost of them. So I think that's kind of a cool announcement.
No, that's not bad. I think there's one other special edition I bought. Unfortunately, the box took some sun damage because apparently, for like 8 months left next to like a window, but it was the Xenoblade Chronicle 2 box, which is really big.
That's the one I'm missing, bro.
Yeah, like the top portion, like right up here, and it's very top. It's like
On the very top.
It's got sun damage. I left it next to a window like an idiot. Because it also came like with an art book that's out on in my living room. But it's like it was really I thought it was worth the money. Because that was the first Xenoblade game, and I just bought the first Xenoblade and Xenoblade 3, so I need to go back and like replay all of them.
I just got this for $10. So.
I don't think I've got any other special editions except for like the physical copies for Elder Scrolls Online Somerset and the Greymoor expansion, the actual physical boxes, because I wanted some of the. I bought the physical version just because I wanted the. Shit, keep pulling on.
Wait, those came out with special editions?
Well, it's a special edition, but the only reason people bought the actual physical version upgrades was like for like these like plastic little mold statues. Like this is from like the Greymoor one with the.
Oh, I didn't even know those came out.
Dragon
Yeah,
Lord.
that was the only one I didn't think of.
I got one for Somerset and Greymoor. I don't know if the last one came out with it, but it's like the only reason to buy it was just to get this physical little statue thing.
Gotcha. Yeah, I stopped with, I didn't play Somerset.
Other than that, as far as I was looking around, I guess Borderlands 3 was the only other one. But I think I talked about that before.
Yeah. Yeah. I got some over here. I don't know if various stuff, whatever. There's stuff up there. Most of it's put away in the closet because I just don't have room.
Yeah, I got a lot of boxes, but I don't have the room, or it's just pointless to have the boxes out for me.
The last really big special edition that I had, that was like, I just got rid of it here about 4 months ago. And the thing was not even I mean, it was open, but I never opened the game. I never opened the DVD that came or the Blu-ray that came with it. I'd taken out. It was Arkham Origins with that, the Joker.
That's a cool.
And I had taken it out. I tested to make sure that the TVs and stuff worked several years ago when I got it. Put it back in there, and I never displayed it. And it just everywhere I moved, it would just sit in the closet, sit in the closet, sit in the closet, sit in the closet, because I never wanted. Yeah. I never had a place to display it, or I didn't want to display it if I did. So it was just kind of like, well, what was the use of having this? So I kind of got rid of it.
I feel it, yeah.
That makes sense.
I think the last ones I cared about getting was probably these, just because I wanted to finish the set, and I'm a big Capcom fan. But
yeah,
I've kind of dropped off some of the collector's editions because there's just too many.
Unless
it's gotta be something I really care about.
Unless it's like a game series I care about, and there's something like tangible that I would willing to pay the extra money for. I just don't bother for most games because I just don't care.
Anymore, most of the stuff that comes with these special editions is just crap anyway.
Yeah, like I want like
just
an actual to come with it.
Look at the Ninja Turtles special editions that they came out with, the Cowabunga collection. Everything that came in there, the only thing that interested me was the book, and everything else that came, like, you got these pins, and you got this little standy thing that what are you gonna say?
I'll be honest with you.
I'm sitting there going, you want me to spend $110 for what?
I
for
had
some
that
pins.
Pre-order, and I canceled my pre-order on it. I just got kind of indecisive on it. But the thing is, if I'm being completely honest with you, I wouldn't have opened it, and that's my problem with
And that's what most people do. They don't open them.
And those still are being sold at scalper prices, so it really doesn't matter what's in it. They're going to sell. I mean, they just do.
Yeah.
It's Turtles. It's an IP that sells.
Yeah, everything I buy, I open because I don't plan on selling it. Like, why buy it if you don't want to like enjoy it? Like, I don't see the enjoyment of like keeping it like perfectly in this plastic casing. Like, unless you plan on like reselling it later down the line, it's like I want to enjoy it myself. I don't see the purpose of it.
You have the same attitude the Radical Reggie has about any game. He'll open up anything. He doesn't give a shit. And
yeah, I bought it for myself. I don't plan on reselling this stuff.
Hey, Radical Reggie does have sealed games.
Well, yeah, I know he does, but he does not have any qualms about going, if I want to play this, I'm going to open it up. I don't care how much it's worth. I want to play it, and he'll open it up.
We actually talked about it.
The flip side of that coin is I do have a few unopened games myself and some of them aren't even worth that much, but I have a few unopened games that I've said, shit, I didn't know I was getting this unopened.
Right.
Okay, and then I'll end up buying because I have a copy of Sin and Punishment Star Successor up there that I got a brand new sealed copy, and I was like, why did I do that? So then I ended up buying, it. And one of these days when I finally get around to opening all the rest of my limited runs and all that stuff, I'm just going to open all that stuff up on, one video, one shoot, go, here's all my limited run stuff that I haven't even opened up yet. And then it'll be like, here you go. And if I decide to open some of that stuff, okay. And if I decide not to, because, for example, I have Celeste for the PS4. It's unopened, and I'm not going to open it. I bought it digitally, so now I'm... And now...
digitally, there's no reason to.
No.
And, I mean, if it's a game that you care about, it's a display piece, that's what it's for.
I've got a few of those. I'll probably open them eventually, but I bought them. I got them digital and the physical, so it's on there. Or my other sealed games or games that I just haven't opened yet to play, so they'll be opened eventually. Just might take a while.
There were two games that when I ordered them, they ended up going on sale on Switch, and I got like the digital versions for like $5, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And then it's not like I spent I spent $35 for it, whatever, plus shipping, and then it gets here, I'm just like. So Celeste, that's going on Mercari soon because I don't care. I just don't care about having the physical version.
Just want to get rid of it. Yeah.
And get rid of it. I love that.
It's gonna cost you $55 plus shipping.
I'll pay $55 for it. You're good. We're good at $55, Scott.
I'm price bargaining for it. I don't even know what it's worth.
It's
That's a very good
you know,
bet.
the last time I saw, I think it's worth between I want to say it was 80 and 100, but I could be wrong.
Well, the Switch
But
version
things
will go
fluctuate.
200. Yeah,
Really?
yeah, the
Wow.
Switch version. Yeah, it's really sought after. But I mean, what else you guys got? Any other?
I didn't see anything other than news. Nothing like noteworthy to talk about. It seemed like a pretty quiet week for the most part.
The only thing I wanted to chat about was, you know, I went to CGC yesterday, Cleveland Gaming
Yes.
Classic,
Yeah, let's talk.
and you know, I'm going to be putting out a real short video about it this coming Friday. And one of the reasons why it is as short as it is because, don't get me wrong, I mean, I know that last year that it was in a hotel lobby in Cleveland, and that they only had 2 tables that had, you know, gaming vendors, and then the rest of it was all toys. Okay, this year they have it at the Cleveland IX Center, and that place is mammoth, and they didn't rent the whole place out. Now they had the upstairs, the downstairs, but they didn't rent everything out. Well, there was no need.
Right.
But I got there at noon when it opened, and you know, I'm sure that there were still people there at 11 o'clock when they got their VIPs, which in my opinion the VIP was not worth it. The one for Torg is worth it. The one for theirs was not worth it.
No,
There was
their VIP was ridiculous.
no their VIP was stupid, and there was just no reason to buy it, and we were there. My best friend and I were there for 2 hours, 2 whole hours, and we got the hell out of there because it got so congested in there, so packed, that we couldn't walk. And it was just like, if you were on one side of the aisle and you're like facing vendors and looking at stuff, and then if you were to turn around, you might have enough room for 2 people to walk, and then there's the other vendor over there. Now, when I was at CAG, as I told you earlier, Brandon, when I was at CAG, that was at a giant indoor soccer field in North Olmsted. And
Right.
there was plenty of room for tons and tons of people to walk. Now, granted, this was also they probably had a lot more people come to this than CAG did. Now, there were a lot of people at CAG. But CGC, I'm sorry, guys. You know, I'm not trying to badmouth them. I'm really not. Because I would like to go back to it. But there were tables I couldn't get to. There were people I couldn't talk to. And, you know, allegedly, Radical Reggie was there walking around. That's what you said. And what I said to you was, I was like, listen, Harrison Ford could have been there walking around, and I wouldn't have known who it is just because there were so many damn people there.
Let's talk about the big issue too. 70% toys and video
Yeah,
games.
it was about 65 to 75% toys versus,
What's
you
the
know,
point?
35. You know, it's the Cleveland Gaming Classic, and a lot of this stuff wasn't even gaming toys. Now, it was almost more of a Comic-Con than anything, because there were people there with Star Wars stuff. There was an R2D2, the Ghostbusters, Northeast Ohio. Those guys were cool as hell. You know, I talked to them. That was, you know, then there was the 501st Regiment, the Star Wars Regiment. They were there. I talked to the Boba Fett guy, and he you know, he was really cool. You know, all those people doing that stuff, they're all super cool and very, very gracious to, you know, I mean, they're going out there to have a good time. If I had my TARDIS there, and if I was dressed like the Doctor or something like that, I'd be, you know, I did a small Comic-Con once, and, you know, I was, you know, doing my part to, you know, make sure people were trying to have some fun, and that was it. Set the TARDIS up and do whatever. But Mark, like you said, it should be more games. Now, should they be turning people away, going, no, vendor, you know, screw you, you only have toys? No, but at the same time, it is a gaming classic, and on top of that,
there than toys.
I want games there, and I also, you know, and I could give 2 shits about COVID and stuff like that, or getting a cold, or getting the flu, or, you know, some little kid sneeze. I don't give 2 shits about that. I just need I just need a little elbow room, and the temperature of the place started to rise because of how hot it was. And so after 2 hours, we were like, well, that's it. Screw it. Let's go get some lunch. And there were a couple of vendors that I wanted to go talk to that we just didn't go. We didn't even go back to them. And that was it.
You know, that, for instance, like, Gary's my friend, but Korg's last year was God, it was unbearably hot in there. Miserable. We were there the whole time promoting Torg.
It just happens when you get a lot of people in a confined area.
Well,
Well,
I went to the Torg bar. I was passing by the Torg booth, and I did see Torg Man there, and then Brian was helping out. That's where I bumped into Brian. I'm like, hey, and he's like, hey, he's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna hang out here and help these guys out. They need a hand. I was like, all right, cool. I'm like, I'll be back. I never made a round back to him because there's so many damn people. So I sent a message to him. I go, Brian, we already left, man. I'll see you at Torg.
Yeah, I was supposed to be out there. It sounds like I didn't miss much, and they were pretty heavy-handed with help for the Torg booth. So
and for those of you watching, either now live or later on, Brian Dittafield, he runs BD Retro Mods. And he makes aftermarket arcade controllers, and they are second to none. I mean, they are just absolutely fantastic. And he didn't get a booth this year at CGC because he just didn't get one. But he will be, of course, at Torg with a booth. And but it was just cool that I got to run into him there at the Torg booth.
I've never heard of Torg before.
I wanted to get a picture with Torg Man and just kind of just because he's not at Torg, so he's going to be a little more, you can approach him probably a little easier just because he's not at his own event and he's not doing his own thing, right. But I didn't get to do that. There's no sour grapes here. It's just how can you screw this up?
Yeah, here's the thing. And I don't want to badmouth anybody because I won't even say a name or anything. But I'm friends with the guy that runs CGC on Facebook as well, and I do know him. Some of my
just get more room next year, dude.
Yeah, that and just kind of the way that some of the promoting was done, I don't necessarily agree with. It was kind of promoted as if there were going to be more games than toys because it was already an issue last year too.
Well, there were more games this year than last year, though. I mean, there were a lot more vendors. There
were more this year, but it's you know what I mean. Like Mark said, it's a video game convention. So, I don't think foot traffic makes a convention. That's my opinion. Actually, I think
unless you're big enough to where you can minimize.
It can break a convention.
Well, that's absolutely true. Foot traffic doesn't make a flea market, and foot traffic doesn't make a garage sale either.
Right.
I mean, you can foot traffic doesn't make a funeral either. If you don't have a body, you don't have a funeral.
Right.
I mean, you just got a bunch of people going, "Where's the dead person at?"
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't think. Like I said, I have problems with the way that some things were promoted, especially. There were some. I'll talk about. But, yeah, I mean, I wish all the best to CGC, and hopefully things are better next year, and they run a good.
I think that maybe this year, because of what's happened in the past couple years, just from my gathering of things, they're probably seeing that. Listen, I'm sure that there's a lot. Let's put it like this: there's a lot of vendors who. I mean, I didn't have a shit ton of money on me this year anyway, but I'm sure that there's other people who did have more money on them that wanted to spend it, but they couldn't because you couldn't get around.
Right.
It's lesson learned. It's lesson learned for them, and hopefully they will get more square footage next year so they can host a much better event. The potential's there. And it's not a fail for them. It's kind of like a, oh shit. All right, we'll step this up.
I don't want to forget to mention our brothers in Georgia though. Tony and Shane had their event this weekend. It was Saturday and Sunday, so they finished today. This was our fourth event. I think things seemed to go pretty well. I saw some really, really cool items there. Had, I believe, an NWC cart, some stadium events, some wild stuff there. And I think overall things went pretty good. They'll probably talk about it more next week. They couldn't come on because of that, but seemed to be a pretty cool event. So games.
I did see there was one booth of a guy who was at CGC. Was at CAG, and he didn't have this there, but he had a boxed, second model Lynx which I don't care about the box, but he had a boxed, complete in-box Vectrex, and it was $800. Now when it comes to something like that, I don't give a shit about the box. I mean,
I love that Vectrex box.
I mean, yeah, it's cool. Don't get me wrong, but you know, hey, a stadium, but they did. Yeah, it was beautiful, but I'm like, you know, for $400, I'd rather not have the box.
Right.
But now, was the stadium events that was there at their event? What was it? No, I know they didn't have a box. It never came with a box. But was it for sale?
Oh yeah, it was for sale.
Okay.
But the catch is that it was graded.
Well, here's what's cool though. There was one table there. Now I didn't take pictures of everything because I couldn't get around it. But this one guy, he had two or three plastic bins, and he had protective cases on fully boxed 3DO games.
Well, nice.
And Lynx games, and then he had these locked cases that were, just the ones that fold open like this, and everything inside of that was like, he had like a loose copy of Musha, and he had you name the rare game.
He's got the bang.
Yeah, he had all the bang for your buck, holy grails with him. And I didn't even get to look at everything because it was so crazy, packed. And when I went around to go over there was people. I was like, screw it, I'll come back, and I didn't get to come back. But this dude he didn't bring any shit with him. Everything he had with him was holy grails. So if somebody brought like $1,500 to $5,000 with them, and if they were looking for some holy grails, they were able to walk out. He did not have anything that was going to be selling for $5, $10, $15.
For this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope that guy is at Torg. Because it was nice. Cool.
There are going to be some people with some crazy games at Torg this year. So yeah, definitely expect to see some of that. Actually, probably more than what you saw there, I'm sure. But yeah, there's gonna be some wild people. Do you know David Aguilar by chance? He's a seller. He sells at conventions.
No.
Dude's got the craziest stuff. He's got that. I can't remember the actual name of it, but it's a fitness bike for the NES. He bought that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, got that complete in box. Like I've never
in box.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, I know Kelsey Lewin saw one at I think it was at PAX, and she bought it the one year.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Crazy. Just like absurd stuff like that.
But it wasn't in his box though.
Let me show you something. I don't know if you guys have seen.
Probably not.
If he comes back naked, I'm out of here.
I would die laughing.
It's not a family-friendly show, folks. So if your kids are still watching, you should have sent them to bed at when he said, "Hi, how's it going, everybody?" Oh, hey, you got the Nintendo sewing machine.
Sir.
What a waste of money.
Well, I didn't pay out for it, so
I will agree. I will agree 100% with Mark. It is a waste of money, but if it's something you really, really want,
it's for a video. So, and I didn't pay. I could quadruple my money on it if I wanted to.
I'm sure that once you finish with your video, it's something that's going to get flipped.
Don't look for me to buy it. I'm not going to buy it.
I'll be honest with you, it's just sitting in the closet until I'm able to get to that. I'm actually going to get it serviced, cleaned up inside, all the get everything in working order. Somebody wanted to donate it to a museum for free, literally.
Oh, fuck that! I'm making money off shit.
And yeah, they want me to do it. I've been asked.
I am not a charity case. I'm not giving anything away for free.
I can't do that. Like it would be really cool, but I'm just getting a plaque for it. And the thing is that these aren't common, obviously, but there's enough of these out there. Like they're readily available on eBay, but you got to pay out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I saw Kelsey Lewin got one of those too, and she was just like, and I guess she sews and shit too, so she was just like, this is so cool for me.
Yeah, it's the only kind of people that like it.
I'm making use of it for sure. Yeah, I've actually already tested out the stuff. It's kind of cool, man.
Oh.
There's actually games for the Game Boy that take use of that, so it's kind of cool.
Oh,
it's interesting that they came out with something like that, but okay. The Nintendo sewing machine or Steel Battalion, both of them very unnecessary. Give me Steel Battalion.
Have you heard of
and I've owned 3 of them.
The fishing sonar for Game Boy?
No.
There's a fishing sonar for Game Boy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it works.
yeah, it works.
It's just it's a fishing attachment.
Yeah.
Just buy a real fishing sonar at that point.
I mean, I think the thing was at that point in time that a Game Boy was okay. This was like Game Boy Color era, so Game Boys were super cheap. So they were making like these crazy accessories in Japan. Just like take it, you could get it for like what it would be equivalent of like $40 to $50 here at that time. So they were making like these wild accessories. Like let's just do everything with it. You know what I mean? So it doesn't really make sense, but it kind of does.
Now it's pointless. You can buy them relatively cheap now. Depending on what cheap is to you.
Yeah,
I'm okay with Sega Marine Fishing and a Dreamcast because that's the best one that's ever been made.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, Sega Bass Fish.
Brandon, I don't know if you saw this, but I know I saw it this past week. But this dude on whoever this Phoenix
Resale.
Yeah, Phoenix Resale. He like completed all the physical copies of the Wii U collection, like every Wii U game.
We're gonna have a post podcast conversation because that's hilarious that you bring that up.
Because I guess he got all 164 Wii U games, which is a small library, but he got all of them, completed his collection.
Well, Metal Jesus had a guy on his show that has.
Oh, I know people locally that have.
Yeah, he just posted on TikTok, and within the past week just blew up on TikTok that he collected it all. So I'm sure he's not the first. It's probably not gonna be the last. He's just the one that did. It just blew up with him.
Yeah, I mean that's. You know, whether it be Wii or Wii U, but the Wii U, there's a...
Don't trash
No, I will trash the Wii U. I have it back here, too, and it's terrible. I hate it.
I love the system. I love the system. I just don't like the library for it. But the Wii and the Wii U, but especially... I've got that sitting right back here, too. And that's not a very good game.
You know the sad part is I have a Wii U, not a single Wii U game. I've got like 3 Wii games.
You know why that you don't like the Wii U?
Because it's a terrible system. There's no games for it.
There's no Metroid on it. That's why you don't like it. One of the few, I think it was only, N64 and Wii U that never got a Metroid game.
I got the Wii because I didn't have a Wii, so I needed to play a way to play my 3 Wii games. That's why I bought it originally, and then I never bought any more.
It's something that you need if you are a fan of the mainstream games that came out for it. Yeah, I've got that too.
Fuck that game.
Yeah,
I refuse to buy that game. I'm sorry.
I think I found mine for $5 whole.
Yeah, I paid $5 at Walmart.
That's too much money for it. You better be getting that game for free. You know what? Somebody has to pay me to take that game. That's how much I hate that game.
Because that's more like $30.
But if somebody decided they were going to go after a full library, full collection of, especially the Wii, not the Wii U, but especially the Wii,
that'd be hard.
I want a full collection of CDI.
You know the Metal Jesus guy that I was talking about. His was a Wii, it wasn't a Wii U, and he had several. Yeah, but how much shovelware do you have?
That's like 3/4 of it.
Listen, there are 1,600 games on that system. I'm telling you, I think it's a fantastic system.
1,500 of those are shovelware.
That only 15% of that is worth playing.
100%. How much shovelware was only digital only on that system?
On Wii?
Yeah, it's so much.
That's like the Switch.
Not Wii.
Oh, but it was worse on the Wii because the Wii had 10 plus years that it was out.
No. Not on the Wii. They had Nintendo was like pretty selective with what was on the Wii. Now the Wii U,
I beg to differ.
It was very similar to, bro. I promise you.
There's a lot of trash on the Wii.
Into enthusiast during that time. And I reviewed some of what you would call shovelware, and even some of those games weren't bad.
I would call them bad, but
yeah, you're wild. I'm done.
It's essentially like mobile games that you're paying money for. Like
on the Wii, yes, I agree.
On the
now
Wii,
I'm bringing up
Wii. No, they have quality control for the Wii U.
Absolutely not. They don't have. They don't have quality control now on the Switch.
No, they don't. I agree.
What's their definition of quality?
Well,
only first-party games does that matter to. Let's be real,
bro. The Switch eShop is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. First of all, navigating that thing is a nightmare. God. And then the games that are on there, I swear to God, 98% of those games are not even worth your time to look at the cover of.
It's the same thing with the Wii shovelware.
I have a game. Let me show you actually while we're talking. I have this wild game on here, right? Because I buy all these like 15-cent games when they go on sale, just to do like videos on in the future. So I got these pretty crazy. I got 2 Christmas games on here, right? Christmas Racing.
I was about to say, if it's not Elf Bowling, I don't even want to hear about
Dude,
it.
I have that going on DS. Don't talk trash.
I played that on the PC. What are you talking about?
Was it on PC?
Yeah, it was like an old it's like a Flash game essentially. It's a really old. Flash game.
The best version of 2 games, and these are 2 that I have, are actually for the Wii U. And of course, we said it earlier: Need for Speed Most Wanted, and then Tekken Tag Tournament 2 Wii U Edition is the best version of that game.
Yes, that game is probably a 10 out of 10 for me.
And Mark, I only have 18 games.
Right here, look. AAA clock. AAA clock, Mark.
It's a clock.
I know, it was free.
I have 18 games for the Wii U, and that's it. I mean, unless I go through there and find a couple more, but
it's probably like all
games.
of there's only 18 good games on the Wii U, and they're all Nintendo first-party games.
Most of these are not Nintendo, but they are either AAA or Nintendo.
The problem with AAA on the Wii U is they're just better games on other systems, either on PC or Xbox or PlayStation.
You see all these quality games. Actually, have you?
There's no quality games on there except Hulu.
My friend developed this game, actually, Haunted Halloween '86. I don't know if you played it.
Never heard
My
of
buddy
it.
developed that. Yeah. They made a physical NES copy of that.
I don't really play indie games, so there's that too.
It's a good one. It's an 8-bit game.
It's got to be something super special for me to grab an indie game.
Well, listen, I'm telling you, there's this one game on here.
I mean, and nothing
Mini
against indie developers.
Mini Trains. You ever played Mini Trains?
No.
When I was 5.
That's a 10 out of 10, easy. Have you ever played Nicky, the Home Alone golf ball?
Never heard of it.
No.
I'm telling you, these games. Octodad. You ever played Octodad?
I haven't heard of any of these games.
I haven't played Octodad, but I did meet the Octomom in a chat room.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Bro, you're wild. You ever played Pet Shop Snacks?
If I'm gonna go through the screen and slap shit at you.
I've listened to Pet Shop Boys.
Oh, that's a good one, man. I like that. I can get down with that. You ever played Roar?
Did you say whore?
Exactly right. I love those. Those are my favorite.
The only indie games I play are games like Honeycam. Let's be real. That's a masterpiece right there.
But no, I was gonna show you. There are some good indie ones like Saturday Morning RPG. That was one of the ones that we were talking about earlier.
There was this one that was on. It was on. They took it off. It was on Game Pass. It was called Rain on Your Parade.
Yeah,
that and then there was another one called The Gardens Queen. It was also on Switch, and I want to get hold of that.
Rain on Your Parade is a really unique type of game. It's not for everybody. I know people. I'm being bored of it.
I'm being asked to wrap it up by my daughter.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's past her bedtime.
Oof, that's rough.
Sorry, folks.
All right. Well,
we don't have to do it at this moment, but we can.
Well, we'll get and wrap it up because I want to say a couple post podcast things to you before you got to go. So
that's fine. And I still need to watch it, so I'll bring it up next week. But I definitely want to for next week talk about that Cyberpunk Edge Runners show that goes along with the game.
The what?
Yeah. Cyberpunk Edge Runners. It's an anime that goes along with the game. I still need to watch it, but it's definitely something to talk about in the future.
It's being highly praised.
Oh yeah, it's definitely got a lot of praise. So it's definitely something to look into. We can try to talk about next week.
Yeah, we'll do that. But all right, guys, appreciate everybody watching. Yep. Sorry for the kind of setup we got for this week. We had some technical problems, but we appreciate everybody coming out. Be sure to check out Game Closet Retro.
Yeah, and there will be a video. Hopefully, it'll come out. It may not be out this Friday. It may be out even a little sooner for the CGC video. It's going to be short, folks, but I'm going to try to make it as entertaining as possible. So yeah, check out Game Closet Retro.
Yeah, and be sure to check out our buddies that weren't able to make it this week. Game Central Station events, and then of course all the stuff for Game Junction. You know where to find it. We'll have it on the details here. So we appreciate everybody watching this week, and next Sunday.
Thank you. Have a good week, everybody.
Bazinga.